We are live.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our February 2022 COAC meeting. We have another exciting agenda for us this evening. We appreciate your time, as always. We do have a special guest this afternoon, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce Director of ODOT, Chris Strickler, to address the committee. Chris?
Thank you, John L. Good afternoon, everybody. I certainly would not consider anything about my remarks special, but they come from a place of appreciation, that's for sure. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. I see many familiar faces, some I don't know, but I wanted to make a point and just drop in and say hello and express my appreciation to each and every one of you as members of the Rose Quarter Community Oversight Advisory Committee for the better part of 3 years, and I think I have that time frame right. You've dedicated your time and energy to the COAC, and you have served ODOT and the community very well. We want you to continue doing this critical work because what you have to offer is absolutely invaluable. Your contributions have made a difference, and importantly, they have held us as an agency accountable, and you have made us better. We appreciate you, and I thank you personally for all of that. As you all know, centering equity is a new focus for us at ODOT, and when I say new, it's been the last couple of years, but it's a long journey, and we're on a journey to integrate equity into all of our work. Rose Quarter Project has been identified as a project that's taking new approaches to meaningful and tangible, equitable outcomes, something that's long overdue in the transportation sector. We haven't always got it right. We will continue to stumble into the future, but we have much to be grateful for, and I will tell you, we have a lot to be grateful for in front of me here on the Zoom screen, and it's all of you. I appreciate your willingness and your contribution to stick with us on this journey. Tonight, you're celebrating a lot of milestones, and we celebrate those with you, but most importantly, we do celebrate you. Here are some milestones that will mark today, and only made possible because of your work. Probably first and foremost is the support for the project's diversity and subcontracting plan that will guide our workforce and DBE program and putting our values into action. I'd like to say that this may well be the most robust diversity plan in the state, but honestly, that's not for me to say. You're the ones to define that success, and it's because of your work that we've been able to get to what we are today. Feedback on our CMGC contract specs back in 2019 and 2020 to proactively reduce barriers and increase participation. As you know, our Hamilton-Sutton joint venture team, in association with Raymore Construction, has been our CMGC go-to in performing that work for over a year. To that end, earlier this week, the CMGC hosted an event to heighten awareness of the upcoming release of the early work packages that will provide more opportunities to gain experience and work on this project in the construction phase. In addition to all of your efforts, I'd like to thank our agency and consultant team, but a specific thank you to John L. And Espousal Strategies and Amber through Ontiveros and Associates for leading the COAC process and helping to guide us through what at times has probably been a difficult discussion for many of you. I also have to thank Raymore Construction. It's for their tireless commitment to the work, tireless commitment to ODOT, and helping to kind of frame a path for us to do our best to get it right. We are creating a wave of culture change in how we approach transportation, and that's not just at ODOT, but it's within the industry as a whole, and we want to make sure that we accomplish the things that we set out to do. It's important to take a moment to reflect on the journey, where we started, where we are today, what we've achieved, where we are headed, and when I say we, you all know that that's you. You have created that and made that possible. I want you each to know that you're making a difference in the work that we do. We can't do it without you. And quite frankly, we wouldn't be here without you. And so I do appreciate not just your willingness to help us serve, but to really help us get better at the things that we've been talking about for decades and maybe not performing on in the same way. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I've got about 2 or 3 minutes here if there's any questions, but I really don't want to upset your agenda either. But thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your service and all you do now and into the future.
Great. Well, thank you, Director Strickler, for those comments. And as much as I would love to receive questions, we got a packed agenda. So if it's okay with you, we'll continue to move forward. If we can get the slides up, that would be terrific. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending our COAC meeting today. Just to kind of go over the agenda real quickly, we will have an opportunity of, again, reacquainting ourselves with our ground rules. We'll have an opportunity of receiving any comments relative to the January 20th notes. We'll have an opportunity to receive project updates by both Megan Channel as well as a committee update from Dr. Holt from HAB. We'll have an opportunity of having discussions, and we may actually postpone the rebrand discussion given news we've had of Mira's mother being taken to the hospital. So Mira, we will leave that up to you, but would welcome an opportunity next month such that you're not having to deal with that today. Then we'll have a conversation on our diversity plan. And we'll get more into that in just a few moments. We'll have an opportunity to receive public comments. Then we'll talk about next steps and conclusions. So another packed agenda. Next slide, please. Just a reminder, general public attendees will be in listen mode. Today's meeting will be live streamed and recorded via YouTube and will be made public on ODOT's project website. Next slide, please. Just a reminder of our ground rules is for us to let everyone participate by listening to and respecting diverse views and opinions, for us to really listen with an open mind, to value learning from different input, for us to stay open to new ways of doing things, and for us to treat others constructively and respectfully. Next slide, please. For us to respect the role of the facilitator to guide the process. Again, my role is to be a neutral facilitator and to continue to advance our dialogue as well as decision-making. For us to attack the problem, not the person, that disagreement, frustrations, and differences of opinions are acknowledged, explored, and addressed. Next slide, please. Just want to receive any comments relative to our January 20th meeting notes that you received via email. So any comments or questions relative to our notes? Okay, seeing or hearing none. Next slide, please. With that, I will turn it over to Megan for a project update.
Thanks, Janelle, and good afternoon, COAC. Thanks for being here this evening. I feel like Director Strickler said it best, but I just want to echo the sentiments and thanks to you as COAC members and our 3 years together getting to this point of delivering ODOT's very first diversity and subcontracting plan. And I see it really as the community's diversity and subcontracting plan because we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for all of your hard work leading us to this exciting point. I do have a couple, two quick updates here. I know I've given updates previously on the governor's agreement that was in the works with local government parties. So as a follow-up to the email message that you got earlier from me, earlier this week from me, just wanted to acknowledge that the letter of agreement between the governor's office, City of Portland, Metro, and Multnomah County has been signed. So that is an exciting moment with the parties codifying support for the proposed Hybrid 3 highway cover concept being incorporated into the project for further evaluations. We'll be continuing that effort. And it's also the moment that allows us to pivot to develop the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Portland. So we're actively working on that. Actually, just before this meeting, I was in a conversation with the city and working through the details of that IGA. So we'll be preparing that for council coming up here shortly. And let's see, the last piece I wanted to make sure that you received an update on. This is not just a Rose Quarter item, but a broader ODOT item. ODOT is engaging statewide community members on the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that passed, and getting information on sort of what that means for Oregonians. And so ODOT is increasing awareness around the federal infrastructure bill and conducting some community engagement elements, including community survey as part of this effort. And so if you haven't already, we'll make sure that you get a copy of that survey. The information from that survey will be provided to our Oregon Transportation Commission with their upcoming meeting in March. So again, watch out for an email that is perhaps already hit or soon to come to you with your inboxes on participating in that survey, should you be interested or have capacity. So with that, Jonelle, I will go back to you and happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Megan. We'll take any questions that you might have for Megan. If you could, again, remember to use your raised hand feature, and I will call on you in that order. Okay, seeing no questions. Thank you, Megan. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Holt for a HAB update.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good to see you as always. Appreciate your work. I'm going to punt to the brilliant and beautiful Erica Warren, who is the lead facilitator for the HAB. So, Erica.
My apologies, Erica. I did not know you were on here. So
it's okay.
Erica, welcome.
At all. I appreciate the partnership, collaboration, COAC members. It's wonderful to be with you and celebrating this diversity plan this evening. Just by way of update, we had a really engaged HAB meeting this week. Developments around urban design are exciting. Community members are leaning into how do we work with the urban design team to make sure that our culture, the history of Albina is reflected in the work. So focusing in on the things that can be included in early work package A. We have not dove into early work package B, but we're excited to be working with the urban design team and James and Bill Hart and Marianne and presenting those ideals to the community. Robust discussion. We have some opportunities for youth engagement, and in May we'll be partnering with some youth CBOs, and the HAB is really wanting to make sure that there's multi-generational representation and input in some of these things on the project. So exciting to see those things coming forward. As always, looking to collaborate with you all as leaders in our community and how you all are championing economic prosperity and restorative efforts in the area of job and living wage creation. So thank you for allowing me to share. We look forward to partnering with you.
Thank you, Erica. Any questions for Erica? Okay, seeing none. Next, would love to introduce Mira Bowman, who has an update on our brand, the Rose Quarter brand. So Mira.
Sorry, I was muted. Hello, good afternoon, COAC. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I am Mira Bowman Johnson, and I am Public Engagement Manager at DA, mostly working on the Rose Quarter project. And beginning last month, I've had the pleasure of not only working on public involvement, but also very heavily on the creative side, shepherding the rebranding or visual revival, if you will, of the I-5 Rose Quarter Improvement Project brand. And today I'm going to introduce to you our new brand package and talk a little bit about how it came about and what we hope to accomplish with it. So, okay, could we have the first slide, please? Okay, thank you. So I believe that Black History Month should be celebrated every day of the year, but it is fortuitous that this is February and we are just at the same time that it's Black History Month is happening. We are celebrating this new brand and the Black geniuses behind the brand. And over the past year, I've had the pleasure of working with Jessica Stanton, who is principal of Stanton Global Communications. She's based in Bend. And with Jaron Simmons and Raylan Jones of PDX Black Excellence. Santosh, could you go back to the last slide, please? Yes, there they are. Okay, so it was a collaborative effort, and it began with Jessica doing what is called a discovery process. And this process in branding is designed to gather as much information as possible to inform the project. And so Jessica was conducted interviews, and they were graciously shared by members of the HAB and some other folks who are part of Albina and Albina Legacy, members of the Portland Black community. Portland Black royalty is what I like to call these people. They are just creme de la creme of the Portland Black community. And so it was such a gift for her to sit with them and take time to gather their stories through these interviews. And some key words that came out of her talks with these esteemed folks were recurring, and they included legacy, family, jazz, opportunity, celebration, wealth creation, valued history, transition, intergenerational, accessibility, Black owned, the arts, and hope. And probably the most valuable feedback in all of Jessica's discovery process in doing this branding work was heard from the incomparable former Senator Avell Gordley, who said about the community of Albina, "We are here, we were here, and still are here." I'll repeat that. We are here, we were here, and still are here. This simple but profoundly accurate quote became the brand vision for the Rose Quarter Project. And it led Jessica and her firm to identify the iconic and stately Hillblock building that was once the center of business, the business district in Albina. And that was used to represent Albina, that was used by our creatives to represent Albina as it relates to this project. So with this icon as a visual reference, Jessica passed the baton to these two gentlemen on the right that you see, Raylan Jones and Jaron Simmons of PDX Black Excellence. Next slide, please. So you see, okay, can you go back one, please? Yes, thank you. So this is our primary brand mark. And the primary logo is sort of like the MVP of a brand. It should be used the most frequently and wherever space allows. It's sort of like the LeBron James of the brand, right? So we are going to use this primary brand mark for everything that's Rose Quarter related. It should be on every piece of printed or online material that we produce. And there are some secondary brand marks that I will show you in just a bit, but in all seriousness, this is the most valuable player of the brand package. And if you'll notice, I'm not sure if everyone has the same, screen size or resolution, but if you'll look very closely around the perimeter of the brand mark, you'll see something that references something else about this project. And this was just a little bit of trivia. I wanted to see if anyone can identify what that is, what that's supposed to be. You can unmute yourself and say it, or just put it in the chat. I'll give you a few minutes. I don't have any prizes though, sorry. Does anyone know? Okay. All right, well, it's a road. It's a street. The dashed yellow lines symbolize a roadway. And it is another reference to that this is to this project. And it's a reference to, it's symbolizing that it's a mobility focused transportation project, right? So next slide, please. Thank you. So as I already stated, because of its MVP status, the primary brand mark likes to have its own space. Doesn't like to be crowded. If it could talk, it would say, like, back up off me. You should always be sure when using it to give it proper space around it, like not crowd it with photos or text or just anything too close to it. It should have a lot of breathing room around it. So that's what you see on the left here. But just like on every team, each and every player has value, right? So Jaron delivered a team of secondary logos that we have at our disposal to use when appropriate. And those include, to the right, you'll see 2 more vertical options in black and white, single color brand mark in the center, top center, and a reverse color brand mark on the far right. And at the bottom, there are 3 more logos that are all horizontal brand marks. They're just like their vertical cousins. There's an alternate color, there's a single color, and there's also a reverse brand mark as well. Next slide, please. Okay. I like to call this the Steve Arkle School of Visual Communications. This right here is everything that you should never, ever do with the logo or the brand mark. It might seem like a good idea at the time, but trust me, it isn't. When I was creative services manager at Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas, several years ago, part of my role included being the university president's brand police. And I had to issue many tickets to staff and faculty just for violating these rules, innocently violating these rules by doing some of the things that you see pictured, to the right here. So just going through quickly, one by one, you see examples of a tilted or rotated brand mark, a recolored brand mark. You never want to remove elements from the brand mark or rescale or resize it. You never want to place elements over it or desaturate it. You'll see this in grayscale at the bottom here. It's very desaturated. There are, really good black and white versions of the logo or the brand mark. So that should be used in lieu of a grayscale image. And then last but not least, you never want to put it over black because of that unique treatment around the perimeter of it. It will get lost. So Steve Arkle School of Visual Communications is a real place. You don't want to go there. So I would just discourage that. Next slide, please. Okay, can you skip to slide 20, please? So the top line messaging of the brand. Okay, so beyond the logo and the message. Okay, next slide, please. Beyond the logo and the message. Oh, can you go back, please? Thank you. Beyond the logo and the message, fonts and colors are very important to this process. And every rose quarter branded item that includes text should be in one of the following 2 fonts, Barrow or Quinellis. If you don't have either of these, please do not substitute the fonts. Everyone who's authorized to work on the brand should have the actual brand licensed brand fonts. And as far as the colors, Jaron drew inspiration from our natural environment. The lovely sunset image that you're seeing here that's so specific to the West Coast and specifically Portland. That's one of the things I love most about living here, the beautiful sunsets. And so you can advance to the next slide, please. All right, so as you can see here, Jaron drew colors inspired by the sunset to inform the color palette using the Pantone matching system, also called PMS colors, to create a palette of orange, red, purple, and pure black. So anything that's printed for the project should always be in these exact colors, these exact PMS colors. Every rose quarter branded item should include at least 3 of our 4 main colors other than black and white. So it would be, for all intents and purposes, RQ red, RQ orange, RQ purple, and RQ black. So not Coca-Cola red, Tropicana orange, or even Omega Sci-Fi purple. Nothing against the Qs. My dad's a Q. But we have our own colors and specific, shades of our brand colors. So we should always use those over anything else. Next slide, please. Which brings me to our final section, which is photography. In addition to bird's eye images of roadways and other transportation-oriented photos, we'll also be highlighting the beautiful people of Portland, focusing on the people of Black Portland as they move throughout everyday life. So next slide, please. So all of our photography should be celebratory, regional, bright, genuine, hopeful, positive, optimistic, energetic, and all the photographs should be high contrast as well. So I just wanted to say in closing that branding is a feeling. It's an emotional response to a business like Nike or Coca-Cola, a person like Kanye or Ye, as he likes to be called now, or a community or place like Albina. It's not advertising, packaging, or even a logo. A brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So the Rose Quarter rebranded because we wanted to raise awareness in a way that was more aligned with our project values, which include honoring Albina's legacy and centering the Black Portland community, which includes community input and transparent decision-making. It also includes a mobility focus, meaning to increase connectivity for the traveling public and local community. And last but not least, climate action and improved public health. So we rebranded in an attempt to repair ODOT's relationship with the community, realizing that ODOT is in a trust deficit, but wants to do business differently. And we know that trust is earned over time and automatically given. But we hope that when the I-5 Rose Quarter project starts a new program, festival or campaign or initiative, that our branding helps people to understand what they're seeing and how it relates to our values that I just shared. So we want to make the community just so proud, they can't help but become ambassadors of the brand and spread the word. So thank you for your time. It was my absolute pleasure in presenting this today. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be here for a little while longer. You can drop them to me in the chat here, and enjoy the celebration. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mira. If you have any questions or comments for Mira, please feel free to use the raise hand feature, and we will accept any thoughts. Okay, seeing none. Thank you for that presentation, Mira. Terrific work.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And our thoughts are with your mother. So
thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, if we could go to our next item, which is diversity plan discussion. Just cue this up. If we could take the slides down just for a second, so we can see everyone. Can we take the slides now? Thank you so much. Just to cue this up, COAC, you'll recall at our last meeting, many of you were prepared to advance the diversity plan that you all have been working on for several months now. We subsequently emailed all of you the updated plan based on many changes that were made. And so to kind of cue it up, we're going to invite Jeff Moreland to offer any commentary to you, and then we'll seek your thoughts as to whether or not you're prepared to advance the document to be adopted by ODOT. So Jeff.
Thanks, John L. Again, my name is Jeff Moreland. I'm the president of Raymore, one of the executives on the Hamilton Sunt team. And I'm just excited. I think Director Strickler actually stole my thunder a little bit, because he recognizes that how monumental what we have done as a collective together. And this is all of us in this group have worked on this. This is the whole owners team, all the consultants with, Ontiveros and Associates and Esposo and Tri-Excellence. We've all been working collaboratively. And I've been around a long time, and I've been doing diversity at a very effective level for a long time. I've written a lot of diversity plans. I can honestly say that this is by far the most robust plan that we have ever put together. The intentionality that went into this to ensure that this project was not going to be mishandled and that we're going to be able to achieve the maximum amount of participation and support to help grow our businesses, to me, has been unprecedented. And I'd like to thank the COAC for their level of accountability. And some of you guys know y'all really held this process really toughly accountable. And we thank you for that, because it forced us to really dig deep. It forced us to really get creative. It forced us to really process all our thoughts in such a way, things that, some of us have been doing for 20 years. It forced us to really, really put them down in a way on paper that is easily followed by anyone. And we're so very thankful for that. So again, I give my congratulations to the entire team. I couldn't be more excited about where we're going. I have a lot more hope. Hope was one of the things Mira said that came out as one of the community deals. I couldn't have more hope. And I'm just excited about where we're going. I thought it was huge that Director Strickler saw it important enough to make sure he weighed in so you hear his voice. And I've been around long enough when Fred Hansen used to do that with TriMed. And that's important that it's at the highest level for that. And so I thank you all. And that's all I have. Thank you, John L.
Thank you, Jeff. So our next step is to seek approval that we advance the diversity plan by COAC. And so I'm just going to ask, are there any objections to advancing it? And I see we have a question. Art?
No, I want to make the motion to proceed forward with the plan.
Okay, we're not seeking any motions. But we'll accept it. And I'm just asking, do we have any objections to advancing the plan to be adopted by ODOT? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we will accept that as adoption by COAC to advance the diversity plan. So congratulations, everyone. Great work. This is the beginning of your work, but you should all feel very, very proud of what you've accomplished here by setting a new standard here in the state of Oregon. So congratulations. With that, let's wrap up the rest of this portion of the meeting. Next slide here. If we can get the slides up so we can do our rest of our meeting, please. Okay, next slide. At this point, we'll take public comments. If we can read the public comments instructions. Next slide, please. Just a reminder, if you'd like to make public comments, you may dial 971-247-1195. You'll want to enter meeting ID 880-3045-7705. Passcode is 518722. You'll be placed in a virtual waiting room until time to speak. You may also leave a voicemail at 503-470-3127. You'll have 2 minutes for comments. Please state your name and speak as slowly as you're able. Speakers can also state, I wish to remain anonymous. For all written comments, please email i5rosequarter@odot.oregon.gov. You may also submit via project website at i5rosequarter.oregon.gov. And the subject line, please input COAC comments. Next slide, please. Do we have any folks signed up for public comment?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, let's just give it a few seconds. And if you could go back to the other slide just to let folks who are viewing maybe get that information. It's a lot to process. So we'll wait just a couple moments here to see if we've received any public comments. Okay, do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, at this point, I'll ask Megan if you have any final comments or thoughts.
I do not, other than I'm just so excited to put the diversity plan into action. So thank you. And I know we talked about this at a prior meeting, but I'll say it again. Let's go.
Okay, team Amber, would you like to say anything? Maybe give instructions in terms of our next piece for everyone's reminder.
Sure. So for everyone on the call, we're now going to move into the actual celebration. Joseph is going to serve as our MC. And so if everybody can stay on, the formal public meeting part will conclude, and then it will just be the celebration part.
Great. We have a question from James Posey.
Yeah, I couldn't go a meeting without asking a question. I'm assuming that we're past the point of any doubt about the project moving forward, and we're pretty much on target to make this thing happen. Am I assuming, since Chris showed up and he made that, and then Jeff made positive statements, that we're looking pretty good? Am I right or wrong?
Megan?
James, you're right. I think we've got a lot of forward momentum right now, and what you've heard and been part of as this meeting. But we also have the governor's letter of agreement that brought together key partners for support of further advancing the proposed hybrid 3 concept. We had our first early work package community showcase on Monday, and kind of just starting to build that excitement, create that buzz of the work to come, and kind of standing up that pre-construction technical service mentoring program through the mini CMGCs. So we've got a lot of really great momentum going forward. And I'm excited to be in partnership and continuing to work with the COAC as we work towards these really, really important improvements that we know we need for the community, and the community building piece that we get to take on as part of it. So thanks.
So I'm very glad to hear you say the community building aspect of it, because from my perspective, now the work really begins. And I am hopeful that there's some thought about, I think we broke some china on the way to get to this point, and that we have a plan and process to do some healing and some repair building and community kind of stuff to make things work across the board. I hope you all understand what I'm talking about. I think most of you understand this was a rugged process. And so I hope we have some things in place that will actually accommodate bringing more folk together, and healing is what I'm trying to say. And I'll leave it at that. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Great.
Thanks for that, James.
Thank you for the comments. Okay, so with that, this concludes our COAC meeting, and we'll turn over to team Amber Ontiveros for our next section. Thank you all.
Great. Joseph, I'm assuming you're on here.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Cool.
All right.
Sir.
What's going on, y'all? Cool. Well, let's go ahead and advance the slide, and we're going to give about 5 minutes for folks to kind of use the restroom if you got to just take a quick break, and we'll go ahead